More than 50 million people are waking up to a winter snowstorm that is slamming the Northeast. The dangerous storm is intensifying as rush hour begins, bringing whiteout conditions and high winds. In some areas, several inches of snow will fall each hour. Schools across the Northeast are closed today, including those in New York City, Boston, and Philadelphia. Thousands of flights have already been canceled.
The powerful system is moving north through New England. A dozen states from West Virginia to Maine are under some type of winter weather advisory. Some places will get hit with more than a foot of snow. So we've got reporters all around the country in the storm's path in New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, and Boston, too. Jerika Duncan is in Chester Township. That's in New Jersey, where the snow, there she is coming down pretty fast. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning. The snow here so far is pretty light. It started falling at about 3 o'clock this morning. Let me set the scene for you, though. We're in a park where people were out here jogging, walking. You could see ducks on the pond. Totally different picture right now. And it's not just the snow that you have to deal with. It's the wind, which is affecting visibility. Bottom line, communities up and down the East Coast are bracing for a long, snowy day. The plowing started early this morning. Truck drivers are working to keep up with the thick snow blanketing the roads.
Let us guys take care of stuff. Please stay home if you can.
Overnight temperatures plunged as the storm moved in and snow began to fall. Forecasters are predicting more than a foot of snow could fall in some places. The storm is expected to strengthen through the morning commute.
Don't be fooled by the warm weather.
Yesterday felt like spring in parts of the Northeast. New York City peaked at a record 62 degrees. But with the conditions turning back to winter, the city's emergency management department is urging caution.
We're going to be experiencing some very fast snowfall. It could be up to 3 inches an hour. That'll create whiteout conditions. The visibility will be very, very poor.
The National Weather Service is also warning the storm will create dangerous driving conditions from Philadelphia to Boston, a more than 300-mile stretch of the Northeast. Officials are telling people to travel in emergencies only. Now, last year, Morris County actually received 30 inches of snow in one single storm. So this community is used to dealing with snowstorms. Schools have been closed, and the New Jersey Governor, Chris Christie, said that all state offices will be closed for non-essential personnel. And you can guess why, because of the snowstorm. Anthony?
Jerika, thanks.
Right.
The heavy snow is creating treacherous driving conditions all around New York. Here's a look from Long Island. Further west, Philadelphia has issued a snow emergency. Tony DeCopel is there, where around half a foot is expected. Tony, good morning.
Good morning. I don't know if you can tell where I'm standing, but this is the Philadelphia Art Museum, the famous Rocky Steps. Typically, on a normal morning, you can see the entire city rising behind me. Today, with this snow falling, it's like looking into dark open ocean. There is nothing at all. And this just began. It looked as though the school kids of Philadelphia might have been paying off the forecasters, because up until just a few moments ago, it was all rain. Classes was canceled. It looked like a bust. Now it's falling at a rate as much as 2 inches per hour, and there are major closures already. There are speed restrictions on the road in this area. The majority of flights at Philadelphia International Airport are canceled, and the plows are trying to keep up. 50,000 tons of salt being spread on the road, but locally here, people are being advised to expect a twice as long as normal commute. Safety, job number one of the city. They are communicating a message of stay home if you can. But forecast is now a nowcast, and it is snow, guys.
Wow. It's a beautiful shot, Tony. Thank you so much. The storm is causing chaos on the roads and paralyzing airports. Around 2,800 flights to, from, and within the U.S. have already been canceled today, according to FlightAware.com. Chris Van Cleve is at New York's JFK International Airport with a closer look at the storm's impact. Chris, good morning.
Good morning. Here at JFK, more than 500 flights have been canceled. When we're talking about the New York City area, at least half of the flights in and out of the city have been canceled for today. Up in Boston, more than 60%. That's expected to climb. Now, the airlines preemptively canceled to get ahead of this storm that was going to hammer the Northeast. All major carriers are offering to waive change fees for passengers flying to or from airports from the D.C. area all the way up through Maine and even parts of Canada. The nation's largest carrier, American Airlines, plan to cancel at least 750 flights today. The biggest impact will be felt at many of the American hubs. That includes Washington, Philadelphia, and here in New York. New York City-based JetBlue planned to cancel 700 flights in advance of the storm. Delta put the number around 350. Southwest was expecting about 250 to be canceled. Now, the hope is that as the storm passes, airlines will be able to restart service late today into tomorrow. But as these things can cause a ripple effect across the country, if you're flying today, the best bet is to check your flight status before you head to the airport. Gail?
Yeah, if you're scheduled to fly today, you are not happy right now. Thank you very much, Chris Van Cleve.
To you, we are getting this snow here hard. It is falling fast, and we're seeing all of these gusts that are just making matters so much worse. And just take a look behind me. These plows are loading up with all of this salt. They are trying to get that out there. It is 107,000 tons of salt to take on this storm. This morning, a major winter storm slamming the East Coast. 50 million Americans caught right in the crosshairs. The crippling whiteout and white-knuckle conditions causing a messy morning commute. That powerful storm system taking its toll from Nebraska to Ohio, now barreling up the East Coast. Icy roads were to blame for this massive 55-car pileup in Massachusetts, bringing traffic to a standstill.
My car got hit by another vehicle as I was spinning.
And this crash near Boston, where one man was killed after a driver lost control on the slick streets.
It was all full black ice, couldn't control the car.
And watch as this car slips and slides down a sheet of ice.
Watch out, watch out!
Uncontrollably bouncing off cars.
Very nerve-wracking having my son in the back seat.
A far cry from the record spring-like temperatures in the east just 24 hours ago. Now residents in Philly, New York, and Boston trying to dig out. And back out here in snowy Philadelphia, we can tell you that what made this storm worse is that it actually started off as rain and then turned into snow. So that means they weren't able to use all of that salt here in Philadelphia to pre-treat these roads. It would have just been washed away. So it means you just have to be extra careful on these roads as they get that salt out there.
Nor'easter, it's hitting from Maryland to Maine.
Here in New York, they told all the kids early last evening. 50 million Americans in its path right now. Let's take a live look at the New Jersey Turnpike. You see it right there. It's a dangerous commute this morning. Lindsay Janice on the road this morning for us.
It's almost unbelievable. Look, 65 yesterday. I was thinking about golf. Now today I'm thinking about skiing.
Yes, we braced for this. Can you get ready for this? Schools in at least 5 major cities from Philadelphia to Boston already closing for the storm. You know that we have team coverage for you this morning, starting with Rob Marciano, who's right here with us in New York City. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Rob. And I tell you what, Michael got that right after the record-breaking heat yesterday. This is nothing but a slap in the face. It is coming down here in Times Square. They pre-treated the roads and sidewalks and in warm ground from yesterday, but you can't keep up with this sort of a snowfall rate. This is a dynamic system that is going to have high impact across a huge population center. Let's take a look at it. The only good news here is that it is a quick mover. If it was moving any slower, we'd be talking about 2-3 feet of snow because it's got a lot of juice with it. There's the radar. Even had some lightning strikes across the Hudson Valley and down south of Atlantic City. That gives you an idea of the lift with this. It's going to be an exploding storm strengthening off the coastline. And we have winter storm warnings that are posted from Philadelphia to New York up through Boston, even blizzard warnings for eastern Long Island and eastern New England.
The storm system itself, where it's located right there around northern Virginia, just outside of Washington. Some rain showers beginning to push, coming off of the heels of what was a 74-degree afternoon yesterday around lunchtime in Washington. But by around 7 to 8 a.m., I think the storm will park right offshore. That's when the snow begins really picking up in intensity. Cold air, strong winds back behind it. By 10 to 11 a.m., we could see periods here where we get snowfall rates up to 2 inches per hour. And over a 10-hour period, even in New York City, we can get at least 1 inch per hour for over a 10-hour period ending sometime around 2 to 3 p.m. So it is a quick moving storm system, but it packs a tremendous punch. So you do the math on this, we're talking easily a foot in a lot of areas, right along some of the major metro cities, of course, but New York in particular. I think 8 to 12 inches of a very good bet across New York City and Central Park in particular. Work your way out towards Boston, points just to the west of Boston, maybe 13, maybe 14 inches of snow, again, from right now until about 3 to 4 p.m. And parts of 13 states are underneath winter weather advisory watches, alerts at this hour, and now blizzard warnings issued for also Long Island and the Cape in place as well. So you know the winds are going to be howling across this region. Could see it around lunchtime, around, say, 30 to 40 miles per hour out of New York City. That's your peak wind around lunchtime for New York. In Boston, around 2 to 3 p.m., that's when your strongest winds come in, about the same sort of a wind speed there, 35 or so miles per hour. And then the storm system pushes offshore beyond that, and it quickly gets cold, and it gets very cold, guys, down into the 20s by tomorrow night.